Okay, so here we have the JWT token. So we are on the login page now. Here we have the email and the password that you have to insert. And when you click the submit button, you are then navigated to the home page where it will say welcome with the user's name, and also you can log out. So I am going to create a user via Insomnia. So I am going to send a post request to the sign up page. Um, and I'm going to click send. And yeah, is a success message. So I'm going to log in now. And here is the user that I created in the backend.
Cool. Well done.
So going to the code.
So we're first going to start at login for the front end. So our login component is going to handle our user authentication through a login form. And basically what this component features is our email and password validation. In sign up, you would have your email username and password. But here we also get our JWT token authentication. And obviously it's going to redirect us to the home page after successful login. So if you have a look on line 19, this is our login component function. So what this is doing, this is defining the login component, and it's going to use React router use navigate to redirect users after login, and then it's managing the form input values with the React state. On line 20 and just line 20 and 19 again. It's using the use navigate hook, which is providing the function to navigate to different routes. Then our use state hook, that's managing the login form's input values. The input value print form DOS like email and password, and sign up it will hold email and password. A input value the state when the user if we go to line 54, please. This is our handle submit function. So this is just going to handle the login form submission. It's obviously going to stop the page from reloading. It's going to send the user credentials, email, and password to the server. In sign up, it's going to send the email, username, and password to the server. This is handling the response as well. So if success, it's going to navigate us to the home page. If error, it's going to send us an error message. Obviously, the form resets afterwards. And then online, on line 59, that is sending the post request to the server with all our input data that the user has put in. If we go to our index.js, obviously this is our express server and entry points. So obviously this file is our main server file that configures and starts the express application. So obviously this file's got a MongoDB connection with Mongoose, the calls configuration, the cookie passing middleware, JSON body passing our authentication routes. So online 27, this is the Mongoose Connect. So it's going to connect to the MongoDBs in Mongoose, obviously, which is providing connection options for newer parsers. And it's going to obviously return a promise, so log success or error message. On line 42, this is going to configure the course, allows front end at the local host to communicate with the backend server, and credentials, true allows cookies and credentials to be sent. And then on line 42, that's the middleware to parse the cookies attached to the incoming request. Line 43 is the middleware to parse the incoming request with the JSON payload. So yeah, and then our auth controller. So our authentication controller handles all the authentication related business logic, such as sign up and log in. So on line 21, this is our user registration handler. So obviously this is just going to register a new user, which checks if the user already exists. It's going to create the user with the hash password. It generates a JWT token for the new user, and then sends the token back as the HTTP only cookie. So obviously this is going to check if all the information is And if we can scroll, please. There, line 64. This is our user login handler. So this obviously is going to authenticate a user, checks if email and password are provided, finds the user in the database, and then it's going to compare the password with the stored hash password. It will generate the new JWT token if authenticated, which sends the token back as the HTTP only cookie. It's line 90. That's going to generate a JWT token for the user session. Then if we go to secret token, this is our JWT secret token utility. So obviously this module is just to handle all this secret tokens. On line 8, this is going to load the environment variables from our env file. Line 9 is going to import the JSON web token library. 13 and 14, this obviously creates the secret token. So it signs a new JWT token.
Yes.
Sorry. So on line 13, the unique user ID that will be encoded in the token, and then 14, it's the signed JWT token string. So basically, this just handles your JWT token for login and stuff. And then our auth middleware. So our authentication middleware, so the middleware for verifying our JWT tokens and user authentication. This is just used to protect routes that require user authentication. So basically, if you have a look on line 15, this is our user verification. So the JWT token verification middleware is going to check if the request includes a valid JWT token in the cookies. If valid, is going to decode the user ID from the token, looks up the user in the database, returns status true plus user info. If invalid or no user, it's going to return the status false. If there is no token found, if you have a look on line 27, is going to return the status false for user not authenticated. And then on line 27, this is going to verify the user token using the JWT and secret key. And obviously it's going to return false if the token is invalid or expired. Yeah, that's pretty much that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So over here in the model.js schema, here it on line 16 to 34, we define the user model with the email, password, and the username. These are the required fields. So the email must match the basic regex pattern, and the password requires a minimum length. And before saving, on line 73 to on 42 to 44, we use the pre-save hook to hash the password using PyCrypt. This ensures plain text credentials are never exposed, keeping the system secure from database leaks or unauthorized access. Then moving on, we have the auth route.js. So on line 15 to 22, these are the authentication routes. The sign-up handles the registration using the sign-up controller. The login verifies the user's credentials and issues a token. And the JWT token verification handles the user verification route. And then we've got the home component. So here we're using our hooks by useEffect on line 32. So line 32 is just the React hook triggered after the component mounts. And on line 34, the cons verify cookie async declares the async function inside the effect to verify the cookie-based JWT token. On line 35, the console logs when the verification starts, and on line 40, the cons data equals the await.post API points sends a post request to the backend, and the empty body on line 42 is there because the token is a HTTP only cookie, and what the credentials on line 43 tells the browser to include the cookies in the request. And on line 47, the con status user equal to data. Thus, these structures the response object status should be true or false whether the token is valid and the user is the verified username returned from the backend. On line 49, we have our if status. This just checks if the token verification passed. On line 51, the set user saves the username in a state for display. And on line 52, set is loading ends the loading state so the UI can render the welcome message. On line 53, we have the else statement. So if the token verification fails, a error will be logged to display a toast. And on line 58, we redirect the user to the login after a 1 second delay. And then on line 73 to 89, here is the UI for the home page. It conditionally renders the welcome message once loading ends. The username is displayed to personalize the dashboard, and we also have a toast container to show feedback if authentication fails, and the logout button just redirects the user back to the login route. Going to Insomnia, I am going to send a post request to the login page, and I'm going to log this user in again. And here is a success message. When I head to headers, we can see the cookie and the token.
Very well done. Awesome. Well done. You girls make good referencing. There was a mistake here and there. You were you're trying to explain comments, the params. Those are comments just explaining what the ID param, etc., are doing. But it's fair enough that it's good enough reference to what the actual function was pulling off. You can end the recordings. So yeah, you did a good job.